What's up guys, this is BunnyMuffins. I'm a former Challenger player, and today I'm going to show you guys how to speed through your placement matches to get from bronze to gold. I just created a new account, and we're going to be playing 2 games in bronze, 2 games in silver, and I just released a video about how to play at the start of a set, and using these principles, such as playing very aggressively, is a very easy way to just like blow through the competition here. You'll see in a lot of these games, I don't do much rolling, I don't do much like thinking at all. And as long as you use those principles, you might be able to get the same results in your games here. So I started this game off with a sword on this Nidalee over here. Bow's the best item in the meta currently, but sword's fine too, just because like you don't need to go the best comp. And frankly, no one really knows exactly what the best comp is quite yet. But here we just go ahead and buy everything because we have all the extra gold. Okay, so here, Teemo's great. We get the Sharpshooter start. So we got a bunch of gold here. Unfortunately, I'm playing on the OCE server and I accidentally sold my other Nidalee, something you shouldn't do in your own game, but since I was lagging and I was kind of playing with one hand, it just had to be that way. So here we get the Divine Wukong. We get bailed out there because it is a Vanguard Wukong, so we could go ahead, level up here, and play for using all 4 Vanguards. And since I have the Chosen Wukong, Wukong is probably one of the strongest Chosens early game. Just because he both deals a lot of damage and is a tank. And for Vanguard, they changed it recently where you get both you get both armor and magic resistance. So it's a really strong synergy right now. Keep in mind, you need some sort of damage. You don't want all tanks, all damage. And here we have Teemo and the Wukong for like a little bit of damage. I would have preferred to get like some sort of item here, but that just wasn't the case. But you can see here, our team's very strong. They pretty much can't kill us. And yeah, we get 250 armor and 40 magic resist from having 4 Vanguard out, which is super, super good. A lot of these units, like, look, they're all alive, like super tanky. So here we get a new shop, and Nidalee's great. I wish we had one earlier and we didn't sell the other one because that would have been a 2-star Nidalee. But if we win this round, we get to 10 gold. Luckily, again, we have the Vanguards, so like they're just never gonna die. So they'll slowly win this game out. We get to 10 interests, like pretty much perfect from there. We don't need the item yet because I'm not gonna build Bloodthirster. So even though I'm win streaking, it's most likely just a win streak due to facing weak players. Because again, in like bronze and silver, it's gonna be a lot easier to hold on to win streaks just because other people just aren't playing the strongest board. And like they're not doing it on purpose, they just don't know what it is. This turn's a little tricky. I'm kind of at an awkward stage where I'm at 17 out of 20 gold, so I can't quite make 20 interests, but I also don't want to level up here. You could, but it's spending a lot of gold early, and it might cost me more interest in the long run. So here I'm just going to buy random stuff to hold on to my bench. We ended up winning that round, and on this carousel, we're last pick, so we don't really have that much of a choice of what to get. We do have a sword. I would prefer to get a Zeke's because Zeke's is really good right now. But if we skip ahead into our pick, so here someone else took the sword, someone else took the tier. We already have a Negatron, so I can't get another one. So we'll just take the Chain Vest. This shop's really good because we have a Teemo. We could also play this Kindred. We definitely want to level up here because we are on a win streak. And with this Kindred, we get both Spirit and more offense because we needed some offense from before. And I think the Kindred is better than the Nidalee because Kindred's just like a broken unit in general. So we won the fight again, no deaths. Again, like the 4 Vanguard, nothing's going to go through that. Especially since we have the good Vanguards. We have both Nautilus and Braum, so both of those are super tanky because they're 2-cost units. And then for the 1-cost, it's a 2-star, so it's also really tanky there. So we get Tristana here. I'm thinking about doing some sort of Sharpshooter build to start off the game. Sharpshooters aren't really a composition because they don't have a great mid-game, but they have a great early to mid game, so that's why I'm going to opt to play them here. I should back up on that statement. They have bad mid to late game. Their mid game's good too. It's just like towards the later part of the game, they just start to fall off. This guy has a Chosen Zed, one of the best units, but you guys will see the 4 Vanguard, 4 Mystic, or 4 Vanguard, which gives both armor and magic resist. It's like too much armor for this Zed to actually punch through my team. So even when you're facing against the best Chosen unit, like this Vanguard stuff is completely bonkers early game. It was pretty lucky that we got that, but that gives us a full win streak going into the neutral camp, which of course is very huge. More Sharpshooters there, so go ahead and buy that. All right, we ended up getting 2 belts, and it's a lot of defensive items. I would have preferred something else, but it is what it is. We're just gonna go ahead and build a Zeke's here. I will also think about leveling up because I'm on a win streak and no one else is, so I doubt anyone in this rating will also be at level 6, so if I level up here, it's pretty much like a guaranteed win streak. I'm going to go ahead and put the Zeke's Herald on Kindred because that's a champion that I'm going to sell. So I'll just drop it like that, and we'll be good from there. And again, this team, it's the same team from before, except we're just much stronger now because we're level 6 and everyone is like level 5. This guy's level 4, so it's even much more free of a win. This next shop here, nothing much to do here, so we could just skip this turn. We win pretty handedly here again, 5-0, so our team is like way too strong for what it needs to be. This next shop is huge. Like this Teemo 2-star, like the game's being handed to you right now. Because we're already win streaking so hard, getting a 2-star Teemo is just going to make it that much better. I could even consider leveling up again, but I'm going to wait one more turn for that. Like these fights, it's like pretty much all our units are surviving. It's not even close. But again, that's just because other people don't know what strongest board is, and it's a lot easier to win streak when that's the case. So what did we do here? We built items pretty aggressively. We built a lot of the early game team-oriented items, like Zeke's Herald, amazing in the early game. We pretty much leveled very aggressively, and we took an early Chosen. A lot of people, sometimes they don't take a Chosen because they don't like them. And yeah, a lot of my advice for like simple stuff to do to get like free climbs is just to take the first Chosen, even if it's one that you don't necessarily want, just because getting a guaranteed 2-star is so critical. I want the tier here, but this guy's going to troll me. So we're going to end up getting 4 defensive items. We've gotten 2 chain vests and 2 belts and a Negatron. So we actually got 5 defensive items. So we're definitely not happy about that, but you'll see that there are ways to get around this. So we got the Nidalee here, which is really nice, and we got the Sivir. So we have 4 Sharpshooters if we want it, so we go ahead level up here. We're at 40 gold. Whenever you level up, you want to make sure that you have around 30 gold left, and this is pretty much where that marker is. And whenever you play Sharpshooters, you want to save the Zeke's Herald for Sivir, because she's just the best user for that, because she's the buffer, so you always want her around your carry anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and build a Sunfire on our Chosen unit just because we're win streaking. It might have been overkill, but in other lobbies where players are better, you might need that power spike from that item to really beat everyone. But this game, like we probably beat everyone no matter what. So it's a little different, you know? Next shop, we get Cho'Gath. So we could decide to go for some Fabled build, maybe at level 8, and just do like Fabled with Sharpshooters plus an extra tank, either a Vanguard or a Brawler. We won the next round. This shop, nothing much to buy here. I guess there's the Aatrox that we could use to replace the Vanguard with, but nothing too critical. From this, we got 2 tiers and a glove and a rod. Not the worst, not the best. We could go ahead and build a Chalice because we're just slamming items. We could also consider building a blue buff on Teemo. Quicksilver Sash is really interesting. We could go like Spell Crit, maybe a Hand of Justice on someone. There are a lot of different options here. We could also go Locket on Nautilus. But I think it's definitely Chalice just because that's what our Sivir Array has, one of the team items, so we might as well just keep stacking her until we find our carry later in the game. So we win again here, it's like a 5-0, and then here we get another Sivir, we get a Kindred and a Diana. We could consider going Spirit here. We definitely want to level up because again, we'll have like 40 gold left over after we sell some dudes, and we're going to go ahead and roll a tiny bit because I really want to run Fabled, just because it's like a good synergy to have, especially in the mid game, and we're only missing a Nico. But we hit this Aatrox Chosen, so we're just going to go ahead and sit after that. A lot of people, they're like afraid to take the Aatrox Chosens a lot of times because a lot of people don't like Aatrox, but he's a perfectly fine champion, and I just sold one of my frontliners. I got a new frontliner who's pretty much identical to him, but better. So like you might as well just run him. Unfortunately, we still lose here despite all that, which is kind of unlucky, but this guy spent all his gold at level 6. I wasn't really even too sure what killed my entire team, but apparently the Aesol did a ton of damage. We get the Kindred 2 if we want it here. I'm not really too sure if we want it, but you know, why not? If you want to play aggressively, you just complete any 2 stars that are thrown at you. The only question here is, do we roll to find a Fabled because that's like a really big power spike? I don't think I should roll, but we are at 37, so we're not actually losing interest if we roll. So we could do 1 or 2 rolls here. In terms of which one is better, playing a roll, like not rolling versus rolling, it's a very tough call there because whenever you're at like a 7, like 27, 17, 7 gold, 37, 47, it's always fine to roll down to 30 or like to the even number, just because like you're not doing anything else with that gold. So it's not the end of the world. Eventually you'll lose like maybe 1 interest down the line if you're at 30 gold instead of 40. So it's carousel time again. We're in first place, so we don't get to pick what items we get. We end up getting either a sword or a chain. I'm going to go for the chain, or I'm going to go for the sword because we already have enough defensive items. We've gotten like 5 or 6 defensive items already. We really don't need any more. And Lucky Lantern, let's see how lucky we are. We are very lucky because we got a Reforger. What Reforger means is that when you get 6 defensive items, you can turn them into random items. So that's like a really good thing to have whenever you get one of these starts. We go ahead, build the other team item on Sivir. Unfortunate if we get a belt later because then we can't put a second Zeke's on her, but not the end of the world. Right now we're running the classic 3 Vanguard, 3 Spirit, so we definitely should have done something to fix our team instead of thinking about the items so much here, but it happens. It's just like a Smurf account, so I'm not like super optimizing or super tryharding. I think I was like eating dinner while playing this. Luckily, we still win here. And we get the Nautilus there, huge, because Fabled's so good when you get them to 2-star. It's really Cho'Gath who has the coolest effect. If you run more of the Fableds, like if you go Fabled, Vanguard, Mystic, which is a build that I have on my website at bunnymuffins.lol right now, you'd end up stacking Nico, but we don't have the right items for her, so we're not going to go ahead and do that. Instead, I'm going to be looking to get to level 9 because our board's pretty stable, mainly because everyone else is so weak. So whenever someone says like, oh, play the strongest board changes every game. If you're in a full challenger lobby, strongest board's going to be like everything but maybe 1 unit 2-star at this point. With like a 4-cost carry. Right now, we have like a 2-cost carry in Teemo and a 1-star 3-cost in Sivir. And we have a lot of 1-stars on our team. So in like a bronze lobby and a silver lobby, you could get away with a lot more than if you are in like a challenger lobby. So what's best board to someone else might be overkill for your situation. So from the last camp, we got a Negatron, a sword, and a chain. I think we got like 8 defensive items at this point now. Let's see, we got 3 Negatrons, we got 3 chain vests, and we got 2 belts. Yeah, so that's around 8, right? But we're gonna go ahead and use this Reforger. I'm just gonna build random items on people right now. So we build the locket and the stone plate, I reforge it. We get a Warmogs and Zezirot, so we just get more defensive, but it's okay, it's okay. We only have support items and defensive items so far. I guess we have Hand of Justice and Deathblade. I should build the Deathblade. I think I forgot that we're on stage 5, so we don't get any more items anymore. So I definitely should have just built that item on probably the Teemo, because I'm going to sell Teemo. What I'm looking to do here is maybe get a Samira, and then sell Teemo, put in Samira. But again, right now we're at the 3 Vanguard, 3 Spirit synergy. Don't do this, or try not to do it in your games. But the reason why I have this is because it's a new set. Everything I do is going to be a lot slower just because I'm trying to learn how to play the game. But luckily we get Samira there, so it doesn't matter. So we could just sell our team and like be happy after that. So now we're definitely going fast 9. We're not touching the roll button at all at 8. We're at high health. We're at 91. We have a decently strong board compared to everyone else. We got a main tank. We got a damage carry. So there's not really too much else to do here. What I do want to do, however, is transfer this Warmogs over to Samira, because the way Samira works, every time she dashes, she gains 10% of her max health as a shield or like bonus health. And Warmogs just gives 1,000 health, so she gets a free 100 health every auto attack. You can see the mini shield over there with like no health items. So imagine with the Warmogs on her, it's going to be completely insane. In this next shop, I pick up the Tryndamere. I probably should pick up the Darius. I want to find a way to fit Slayer because Samira is going to be my primary carry. But we don't need to worry about it too much until level 9 because our team is so far from being like capped. We ended up winning the last round, and here's where I was like, oh, maybe I wish I had another Zeke's for Sivir, because Zeke's is always going to be better than Chalice of Power for this team build. But there are a lot of good items here. I end up just going for the Zillion because he's a 5-cost unit, and QSS might come in handy for my secondary carry, whoever it may be. I'm not really too sure who it could be yet. So we're definitely going level 9 at this point. Just depends when. You could do it now, you could wait till later. We only lose 1 gold if we do it now, plus the 2 gold per round that we lose from passive experience. So it could be argued that we could have waited because, again, we're at 91 health. But since everyone else is low, they're probably spending all their gold. So I might as well just level up here just for the sake of doing so. Whether which one's the most optimal, I honestly am not too sure. Because no one's ever in this situation where they're 91 health versus like 44 or 41, 11 at stage 5. Just because like we're playing in a lower lobby, so the game's going to be a lot easier. So it really doesn't matter what I do, just because my early game was so good that it kind of snowballed out of control. Next shop here, we get a lot of legendaries. I'm going to go ahead and buy all of them. So obviously you don't really want the QSS on Zillion, but since we were able to get a pair of Zillions before, I didn't really mind keeping him, and like it isn't horrible on him. It's just better on like a different carry champion that like absolutely destroys people if they go unchecked. Whereas Zillion, he kind of just ults once and then maybe twice, but you don't really care too much about him after that. Sunfire Cape, I think I probably should have put those items on Cho'Gath, both the ZZ Rot and the Sunfire Cape, just because he's going to live the longest. Ornn's actually pretty squishy. For a legendary champion, he's actually not that strong, and that's mainly because he is pretty much used just for his items instead of his like board fighting ability. He's still decent on a board because he does have area of effect abilities, but it's just not as devastating as other legendaries. Like you compare it to Samira, look at Samira's damage at 1 star. It's like my entire team. So we end up getting an Elderwood Ornn here, which is really nice. We're just going to buy that. I mean, it's a chosen legendary. You're not going to not buy it, you know? We get the Zed there for Slayer. We're still running 3 Vanguards, so we could probably drop the Fableds because Fableds, they kind of fall off late game. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I should have played 2 Ornns here. Kept that Ornn on the board and then like took out my Fableds during this time because I get a free stack on both of them. So in I think 2 more turns after this, I'd get 2 items. That'd be completely insane. So I probably should have kept on to the other Ornn, but I just forgot about that strategy here. So it's a good part of playing on a new account in the beginning of a set is that you learn a lot of these things that like might have punished you in a game that really mattered. We're going to roll down to 50 here. We end up getting the Samira and the Sivir. I just realized we had level 1 Sivir, and we were still winning all these games. So the boards here are really weak. It's nothing to like, I'm not like trash talking the players, but it's just like shows the difference between someone who's newer to the game versus someone who's played a lot. Like a lot of people think this game's a lot of luck, but there's not too much luck in TFT. Like there's luck to certain extents, but like this game, there was just no point where we were in any sort of trouble. And you'll see that for the case for like all of these games that we're going to play. So now on this last point, we're at the end of the game. He's got 6 life. I might as well just roll it all the way down to try to get like a 3-star. Maybe it'll be fun to look at. So I'm trying my best to roll down here, but we're not really getting too much of anything, and we don't have a Nico, so I don't think we could actually do anything that cool. Whenever you're in this situation, it's obviously really nice. We also have the Ornn item, but at this point, like our team's so strong, 2-star Samira with pretty much like very, very good items. If she rolls damage, it's like best in slot. But only if she rolls damage. The healing's a little bit overkill on Samira because she has built-in healing from Slayer and she has built-in shields from the Warmogs, so she doesn't really need the healing from Hand of Justice. But if you roll damage, like it's one of the best in the game, you know? But yeah, these fights are like, I guess this one's kind of close. Does he win this one? I think he actually wins this one. The Olaf is actually too strong. That's really weird. So even after I rolled my gold, it's still a competition. That's very interesting. All right, so Carousel here. I probably want to get like either Giant Slayer, because he has an Olaf, and Olaf definitely is above the threshold for Giant Slayer. Giant Slayer, you need to have the enemy have 1750 health in order to deal like a lot more damage to them. So I'm just gonna go ahead, pick that up, and put it on one of my carries. I don't really have a carry yet. I just realized Azir 2 was on my bench, so that probably could have been changed. I probably want to sell this Cho'Gath and put in something else. Yeah, and the Fabled unit. Wait, we have yeah, it's a messy turn. I should be rolling all the way to 0 right now to try to put him away, but too much to do in one turn, so a little unfortunate there. It's also fun to get legendaries, but yeah, this item completely useless because like it works on people that are surrounded, but like I don't have anyone surrounded, so it's just like I just put it on just to get it out onto like to get the stats on it, not so much for the effect. But in the next round, I would have repositioned if we needed to, but like we have too many legendaries, so it's kind of GG from there. I wonder how we lost the last one, but yeah, this was the first game. I'm gonna be doing 3 more, so stick around. Alrighty, game 2. We're gonna be trying to do something sort of the same thing, just play really aggressively and just get a huge win streak and snowball from there. We got a bow off the start, so that's the best start. I've noticed that even though I have like 200 ping, as you can see from up here, we pretty much win all the carousels. I know I skipped the carousel, but like for some reason people aren't fighting for stuff, or like I am fighting against someone and then they just miss. So we get a Nico and a chain to start. I really don't like Nico starts. I much rather have gold. So I was pretty disappointed at this point, but not the end of the world. Here's one of the examples where I wouldn't take the early chosen. Fiora's good, but they just nerfed her. Before she had reduced mana, but now she has increased health instead as her chosen trait. And that one's really not that great, so I just go ahead and pass on her here. And since we have a Nico, I don't really think we're going to be win streaking that hard because I'd rather have like an item or more gold. So we got more gold there. We got this Tristana, which is really nice. Sharpshooter Tristana, like what more can you ask for? So at this point, we could sell the Yasuo because remember, in the beginning, you just want a mix of frontline and backline. Frontline, backline, damage dealers, and tanks. Same thing as we did last game. Last game, we had like more tanks than frontline or more tanks than backline, but that was just because we had 4 Vanguard and like Wukong happened to be enough damage for before. So from these other champions, what I'm thinking is I want to pick up the Vi because I have a brawler start, so I could do something like Sharpshooters with brawlers in the beginning as my frontline and backline mix. Oh, just one thing to keep in mind. Frontline champions, frontline chosens are much better than backline chosens. And here I make a huge mistake. I have Fortune, I have Tom Kench, Katarina, and Darius, but I didn't see it. I was like, oh, I need Annie to get 3 Fortune, and I end up selling these 2. Let's not talk about it because I just threw away a first place by doing this. And again, like this is part of the new set. I'm trying to think of so many other things. That's something so obvious right in front of my face I don't realize, and hopefully you guys don't do this in your game. Luckily, like 6 gold almost makes us interest, so it's not the end of the world that like we missed out on Fortune, but it would have been really nice to get a big lose streak on Fortune and cash out later in the game. It's pretty much like a guaranteed first place if you can cash out. Well, not guaranteed, but a very high chance too. This team right now, not the strongest because we don't have any items. Again, I would have preferred to get 3 items just so I could slam something because that's the name of the game right now. That's what we've been trying to do all along, but somehow we win this round anyways. Notice how I didn't level up. Since I don't have any items to build and my board wasn't that strong, I'm not going to level up and waste my gold because the chance to win streak is much lower than it would have been otherwise. But last game, I didn't have an item either, so you could say like, oh, why didn't you level up last, or why did you level up last game? The reason behind that was because we had the 4 Vanguard with the Teemo, and that's just like an unstoppable combination, as you guys saw. So we're just going to stay at 10 gold, so we had room to level up here because we had 14 with selling some stuff. We just add the Nidalee just because she's a sharpshooter. Even though it doesn't give us an extra trait, she still gets a bounce, so it's not the end of the world to play her here. End up barely winning that last round. Here we get the Braum. Braum doesn't really fit too much. We could get the Dragon Soul. I'm not really too sure if this is worth it or not over the Brawler. If you guys know, I haven't done much research on this new set yet, so if you guys know what's better here, like Brawler or Dragon Soul, let me know in the comments. We end up fighting a Cultist player, and he's looking pretty strong here. He just CC'd my whole team. He's got like 3 people left, but for somehow, Brand just destroyed his whole team there. And then Tristana does this amazing comeback. I don't even know what happened, I'm going to be honest, but that's just a Dragon Soul buff for you. Look at that damage. So on this carousel, we're last pick again, so we don't get a choice. We have a bow and a chain, though. We definitely want to complete an item. So, stuff like Static Shiv is really good. More bows is nice because I could go Rapid Fire Cannon, and Rapid Fire Cannon's core on a lot of different champions. But we're last pick, and we get a bow, so lucky day for us. Makes up for last game, right? Because we got a lot of defensive items last game. If you guys ever complain about getting a lot of defensive items, like there are ways around it, you know? Like we didn't have that many true good items. We only had like Deathblade and Hand of Justice, but those came much later. We had like 3 support items and like 3 tank items for most of the game. And then when we reforged, we got more tank items, so it's kind of funny there. So we're building the RFC. We got a bow from the Lantern, so that's really big too, because then we could go some sort of Zed build here. Like I had Zed on my bench. I didn't really plan on playing him, but since I have all the bows, you might as well, you know? We ended up winning the last round. We built the Maokai here, which is really lucky. And yeah, I guess Brawler Dragon Soul, we could just roll for that for a bit. Right now, I'm just looking for a chance to transition into Zed, but we're not seeing too many Zeds. The Zed comps are either Spirit Zed or Ninja Zed. I have seen someone do both, but it's hard to do both unless you're level 9. If not, you have to give up Slayer, and Slayer is very crucial for Zed. So I wouldn't do that personally, so I would just stick to one or the other, and to choose which one you go for, it just depends on which champions you get. Like sometimes you get Ninja Cursed, and you can't find Shen. Sometimes the spirits just aren't showing up, and like you level up too quickly and you can't find the Diana. It works both ways. So just play whichever one you hit. In this shop, nothing much to do here. I guess I could pick up the Brawlers because like having more Brawlers is nice. We might be able to get to 4 later if we get gold from this camp. End up getting a tier and a chain, sell the Braum there. Like Dragon Soul, I don't know. I guess since we do have a bunch of attack speed, it's not bad. But the thing is, Braum has to die first to pass the buff onto someone else. And Braum's just very tanky. But we get a lot of like weird items here. Like I do not want all these chain vests. I do not want like a tier. The Negatron's good though, because we could build Runons or Quicksilver Sash with that. Notice how I didn't keep any Slayers except for Zed until now. Reason behind that, it's going to cost you a lot of gold, and the Slayers are not that important. You just need like a level 1, level 2 Pike, doesn't matter. The third Slayer doesn't matter. It could be Darius, Olaf, or Tryndamere. You really just want to look for the Zeds at this point. We do something similar to last turn. We're on a huge win streak. We notice no one else is on a win streak, so if we level up, even though we lost a crap ton of gold there, we're pretty much guaranteed stronger than everyone else, so that's why I leveled up there. And then I just put in 2 Siphoner synergy. I don't know if Siphoners are that good, but that's the only synergy I could fit. Maybe just playing random champions would have been stronger. Not really too sure, but looking at synergies is pretty, you know? Here we get a Zed, that's really nice. At this point in the game, we want to find a way just to slow roll for Zed, so that pretty much just means at level 7, we want to roll down to 50 gold every turn. Unfortunately, I think we lose the win streak here. This Annie looks to be too strong, and we just barely couldn't kill her a bunch of different times, so she got a lot of shields and a lot of Lulu ultimates, so a little unlucky there. So no more streak, which is fine. It's kind of better that way, because then it's a better learning opportunity, and until we get the level 2 Zed, and we just swap out the items there. At this point, I really want to get Slayer now. We have the Darius, but we don't have anyone else, so I probably want to sell someone here to make it to 50. It's Carousel again, and like we're last pick, so let's just skip ahead. So here we can get Rod, Crit, or Tier. None of those items really do anything for me, so I'm just gonna grab the Rod. Maybe we could build like a locket out of it since we have 2 chain vests. You definitely want to finish one of the chain vest items because you have 2 of them, so just in case you get more of them, it's like you just need to complete it. If not, it's gonna be sitting on your bench for too long. Do we have 4 brawlers? We do not, because we sold Nunu. That's a little unfortunate there. So I think the strongest board here, do we level up? We're not on a win streak anymore, so maybe don't level up. Yeah, just lock it, and yeah, get locket value. A man's got a Kale with 2 Rage Blades. Luckily, Zed made quick work of that, so this game's pretty much over from here. He does not have any damage. We get Spirit Teemo. It's interesting to try a Spirit Chosen. Most people go for Slayer Chosen because you want to run Slayer Zed with Pike, and then all the other Slayers, they're not really that good because they don't contribute anything. They're just damage units, but since you're not building around them, the damage means nothing essentially. So getting Spirit, not optimal, but it's still interesting because now you don't have to run Diana. So maybe I should pick up this Teemo Chosen. I'm not really too sure. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. I end up pre-leveling here to level 7, so we hit level 7, gives us a chance for a 4-cost Chosen, as those are very crucial in the game, like so good. Imagine we got like Chosen Shen right there, that would have been pretty cool. So we're just gonna slow roll on 7 because we're trying to maximize our gold for Zed. And the reason why I didn't level up fully last turn and just pre-leveled was because we're slow rolling on 7, so we're gonna be at level 7 for a very long time. So every excess gold we put into leveling up, it's essentially gonna be wasted. So you don't wanna do that if you are doing a slow roll strategy. Like, you want to just get to the optimal level as fast as possible, but you still need to maintain a large economy. So we get a bunch of items here. It's looking like we could do something like a blue buff, another locket. I'm leaning towards going for ninjas because right now I'm scouting to see how many Zeds are taken. So 1 person's doing it, potentially in 2 people. But it's looking like it's pretty clear, so I go ahead and slow roll instead of leveling up because I didn't have to force Zed carry. I could have just won something else and power leveled all the way up to level 9 because I'm at 96 health, but no one's playing it, so I might as well go for the slow roll. We're going to itemize this set here, but yeah, I'm leaning towards Akali because we have the double locket with blue buff. It's going to be a very strong combination with the Zed. A lot of people are doing carry Akali. I don't think it's that good. Carry Zed's definitely much better, but it's an option if you guys want to do it. You need a bunch of assassins to do it. Stuff like blue buff, infinity edge, rapid fire cannon, that's going to be a great build on Akali because she's going to one-tap everything from a very safe distance. This next turn here, we do end up getting a Slayer. I normally just end up keeping the Darius over the 4-cost Slayers. I find that the 4-cost Slayers, Olaf and Tryndamere, they don't do much without items. Like Darius doesn't do much either, but he's cheaper, so he's not going to cost me as much gold. So that's why in my like 2 games I've tried this so far where I have to play 3 Slayers, I end up just keeping the Darius out there. So we need to make room for Zed here, but all I'm doing at this stage in the game, I'm just rolling down until I get Zed level 3 and hopefully pick up some other units. I'm looking for ninjas or spirits, so that's why I'm keeping both of them on my bench right now. You see the Kennen, Akali, and you see the Kindred and the Yuumi. So new turn, new shop. We're going to keep doing the same thing until we hit Zed. It's going to be pretty straightforward. Again, this might seem boring, but it also shows how simple the game is if you know the principles of the early game. So right now, we're literally just pressing D every turn until we reach 50 gold and buying all the units in our comp. Right now, it's a Zed comp. You guys can check out the meta snapshot that I have. It's not fully completed yet at the time of recording, but maybe by the time you watch it, it is complete. I'm going to be releasing it on Saturday, January 23rd. But I have some comps up there. It's just not sorted yet, and it will be soon. Man, Zed really just destroys everything. Level 2 Zed is way too strong. I don't know why they buffed his attack speed. Maybe he was too weak in the playtest. So I'm going to pass up on the spirits now. And the reason behind that, I'm still going to hold them, but I got the Shen, and I have a blue buff for Akali, so I definitely want to lean towards the ninja build right now. Blue buff on Yuumi is still good, but I feel like Akali, she's going to have a lot of these leftover items because we have the 2 lockets as well, so I might as well just try to use her. This Yone is obviously great too, because if you go ninjas, you have adepts from Shen, so going to Yone is like a no-brainer, but we're last pick, so we're not going to get it. So we have 2 tiers and a belt. I could try for a crit. I think I went for that just in case I get a lucky Infinity Edge for Akali. And worst case, I could always like Hand of Justice Zed or like QSS Zed. I think the best items for Zed are Rapid Fire Cannon, Runons, and then QSS. But I don't think we're going to get either of those this game because we have so many items already. So the Raptors likely aren't going to drop too many. Let's go ahead and sell the Brawlers. Yeah, just put random stuff in right now. We have the ninjas. I think we ran out of time last turn to put in all the ninjas. We need to add in Slayer, though. Do I remember to put that in? I need to put in Darius and the Pike, but I think I forget to here. Oh, Pike's on my bench. It happens, guys, you know? Do I blue buff the Akali yet? Maybe I wait since I have 91 health. A lot of times, whenever you play TFT, like, just because you normally would build an item doesn't mean you always have to in stage 4, because we're 91 health. Normally, we're one of these guys. We're at like 50 or 60 when you're playing against players of your own skill level. But we're at 91, so we're not like forced to build all our items immediately, just because we have more life to play with. So you just want to guarantee the win, and the best way to try to guarantee that is by playing it slow right now. We do get the other Zed. I think spirits are gone now because we have the level 2 Kennen. Do we pick up the Darius? Yeah, sell the Brawlers, sell Maokai and Tom Kench, put in the Pike. I think I'm trying to figure out which unit I'm missing here, but luckily I find it in time. So this fight here, I wonder when we should sell this set. You normally want to play Adepts, so like Yone and what's the other one? Aurelia are really strong. They're just a really good generic front line. Again, we're still going to be rolling down to 50. I just had too much to do in my last turn that I don't really have time to roll during the other stages. I just sell the Darius here. Darius doesn't matter. Like level 1 Darius, level 2 Darius, he's not doing any work. It's all the Zed and the Akali, mainly the Zed. But now since we have this Akali, we could go ahead, swap them, play the Chosen One, and we could try to play 4 Assassin here. So we got a Chain Vest. Not the best. Not too much to build there. We could build a Shroud. I like playing Shrouds when I play an Akali, because Akali one-taps a lot of people, so you can oftentimes kill spellcasters before they even get their cast off by using the Shroud. Just something to keep in mind there. Yeah, throw in the Aurelia. I guess I could do Yuumi too for Mystic. I don't really think it matters which one I put in. But I do want to put all the lockets on the Akali or the Kennen, and the blue buff on Akali. Yeah, okay, we got it off. So this fight, oh man, it's pretty close. I don't know if Zed's going to do it. This set looks kind of scary. He's going to do true damage. Oh, not enough. Nice. Man, Zed's way too broken. The fact that, he doesn't even have 3 items and he's doing this much is just awesome. I forgot to build Shroud of Stillness. It's stage 5, so we're not getting any more items. I made this same mistake last game, but I think I'm just rusty from TFT and, not playing that much in a while. We get more cannons. At this rate, since I'm having trouble finding the last Zed, I might as well go for 3-star Akali, 3-star cannon, and 3-star Zed, just because we have the gold to do it. Also, it's just fun to do. Oh, we got a lot of cannons. Yeah, I think we should build the shroud on someone. Do I get it off in time? I do not. Too slow. I blame that on the 200 ping, you know? Luckily, we won that fight still. We could get back up to 50 gold. We find the 4th assassin. That's going to help Akali a lot. There's like, normally you'd all in here because we'd be much lower in most games, but since it's like I'm on a Smurf account, we don't have to all in. But if you guys were like 35 health at this stage in the game with like 40 gold, you definitely want to all in, roll to 0 right now, and pretty much just rush to that. We won the last fight. We're back on carousel. Last pick, of course. I'm pretty sure we've been last pick every single carousel we played today, which is kind of funny. Can we get anything good? What do we want here? We want a Zed item. So something like Giant Slayer would be really good on him, or the Ionic Spark for like a random frontline unit. But Giant Slayer, super, super good just because like a lot of people in the beginning of the sets, they go for these 3-star builds. And 3 stars, they all get hit by Giant Slayer, so it's really nice. It's like a weird tech in the beginning of the set. Like, Giant Slayers demolish all the reroll builds, theoretically, you know? I could Nico the Zed here, but since I'm so close to Akali, so close to Kennen, I just want to keep rolling and hit all 4 of them, or all 3 of them. I wanted to see if I could get 4 ninjas, all 3-star, but I don't think that's going to happen. We won the game before, and Akali 3-star, nice. We're at 80 health, second place 29 health, so it's going to be a while. But yeah, just keep doing the same thing, stick with the game plan, keep slow rolling until you hit everything. I wonder who does more, Zed 2 or Akali 3? Granted, Akali doesn't have her best in slot items, whereas Zed does. So maybe the Zed actually wins out over the Akali. If she doesn't have RFC, yeah, Zed still wins. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, again, suboptimal Akali items because you want RFC and Infinity Edge with the blue buff, but like, come on, you know? Like, it's a 2-star versus a 3-star 3 cost versus a 2-star 2 cost. Feels like one of them should be dealing less damage than the other. You also have to keep in mind, we have like 4 assassin for Akali, so it's not like we're like only stacking synergies for Zed. So here we're just going to keep rolling. So I'll skip through this because it's the same old thing. All right, we end up hitting the Zed here. So from this point, we want to debate leveling up. Chances for 3-star units from level 7 to level 8 don't really change too much. So nothing to be concerned about there if you like are trying to super optimize your rolls for the Kennen. We won our last round. We could greed the level up. You could also just level up because like 80 to 22 health, this guy's on a win streak. I wonder why we haven't faced him yet. So yeah, just grab a random protector and I guess just shield people. Doesn't really matter what you put here. We only lost like 1 gold here. We want to try to get to level 9 anyways, and losing 5 interest to 4 interest really doesn't matter that much. Like, we have a chance to put them away right here before they get too strong. Even though we're like so much stronger than them, not really too sure. Like, you're never going to be in these situations, so it's hard to think about what is actually the most optimal thing to do to like increase your win chance as much as possible. A lot of people are doing reroll Diana. He doesn't have the right items for it, but somehow he's still beating everyone. He's probably going to get second place. On this carousel, it's Zephyr. Like, whenever you're in the late game, Zephyr is the best item because ideally you have all your carries itemized already. So what do you want to do? You want to get rid of their carries, and Zephyr's the best item for that. Again, he didn't even think about taking it. It was on his side. It just goes to show, like, sometimes the difference between like different skill levels, they don't know that Zephyr is like that great of an item. I could Nico the Kennen here. I think I forgot that I had Nico. Yeah, this fight here, it's just not close. So pretty easy game, 50 gold, don't have the 3-star Kennen, Nico on the bench. Again, it's all down to just early game. The early game just snowballed the entire game and we didn't have to make any decisions after like stage 3. So great early game just leads to easy wins when you're at like bronze or silver. So if you guys are there, hopefully this will help you out. Let's get into the third game. All right, we're into game 3. This is another Zed game, so if you guys don't want to see this, even though we're playing against better players this time, you could skip to the third game or the fourth game. But if you want to really learn Zed again, I definitely recommend to keep watching. We start out with a bow here, which is super nice, obviously. And I actually don't try to force Zed. It's just something that happened to us, so don't call me out for that, please. Like, I wish I played something else too, but like, you can't pass on Zed. So we get a bunch of gold in the beginning, so we just buy out the whole shop. Not too much decisions to make there. This shop we have 10 gold. Yeah, so Nautilus is nice. I always like going for the Fabled potential, like Fabled Sharpshooters. I feel like they're a great base to go into other team comps because you have a bunch of tank options and you know you're going to sell all your Sharpshooters because Sharpshooters are absolute garbage in the late game. So if you want to go like a fast 9, I like going for Sharpshooters a lot. Even though they're not the best, it's just something I like to do. So sometimes you want to have fun. It's not all like super serious when you play TFT, just something to keep in mind. You'll notice one thing I do here. I don't have a chosen yet, so I could consider leveling up, which I think I do here, because you get a 40% chance to get a 2-star chosen at this point in the game when you're level 4. So if you do end up getting that, you just steamroll everyone. Imagine like a 2-star Zed at 2-1, like you just automatically win. Or like a 2-star Vladimir, I'm pretty sure no one can even deal damage through him. So we end up getting a 1-star chosen here, the TF. Maybe I should have passed on this. I'm not really too sure on the math, because the more you don't hit a chosen, the higher chance you get a chosen in like your next roll. So I could have passed on this TF to, again, try to get a 2-star chosen, but I end up just buying him because I get the 3 mage synergy and like, this one's tough. But if I'm playing like strongest board, you take that chosen for sure. But maybe playing strongest board isn't the best decision at this point in the game because I don't have good items. Notice how I have like a Titan's Resolve that I could build, but I'm not going to build Titan's Resolve on anyone because it's not a flexible item. If you want a list of flexible items, check out my website on the meta snapshot. Like I tried, it's not updated now at the time of recording, but maybe by the time you watch this, it is updated. Because normally I update it every Friday. But since the new set happened, it's a little like delayed because it's not Friday yet. This shop here, Sivir and Tristana, super lucky there because you guys know me, I like the Sharpshooters, but we don't have to play them yet, and we actually can't play them yet. So I'm going to play the Veigar over the Brand and call it a day. Don't have enough to make interests, but let me skip this fight here. Actually, this fight, did I win this one? It's looking kind of bleak before, but now it's looking good. Okay, TF actually cleans that up. Nice. 2-star Braum, like 2-star Braum at 2-2 or 2-3 is just completely devastating compared to like a 2-star TF, isn't it? We're last pick again. There are 3 people tied at 100, and I didn't win the 1 and 3. So I'm pretty sure every single carousel this whole day has been last pick. Kind of sad, but you know, if you're win streaking, like that's bound to happen. So our choices are a Rod, Negatron, and Belt. I'm gonna go for the Rod because I like offensive items. Generally, you want at least 2 offensive items for your carries. So, and if you run 2 carries, that means you want 4 offensive items. And then like maybe you have 1 support item, and then maybe you get another one that's like kind of flex or defense. Obviously that you can't always get that scenario because sometimes you get 6 defensive items like we did in the first game. Sometimes you get like 8. Actually, the first game we got 8, right? No, we got 10. We got like 3 belts, 3 cloaks, and like 4 chains. I forgot what happened, but like we had a lot of defensive items, and like sometimes it happens, you know, but you got to just make the most of it. We ended up slamming the locket here. Whenever you're in the early game, like we've been saying this the whole time, you want to be slamming items. Unfortunately, we lose here because Dragon buff is OP with Sharpshooter on Tristana. She just like 1v3'd there, which is absolutely bonkers, right? With no items. But yeah, even though like I built the item to win the early game, I still lost my lose streak. So that actually really hurts us. But there's still ways around that. You can't always like play around everything perfectly. We end up winning the next round. We'll pick up the Braum here because I want to do the Braum Nautilus frontline with the Sharpshooters, which we're about to be able to do. Sell the TF here so we could get a new chosen and just go from there. So we get a bow. And this is when I decide like I should probably go Zed. What I should do is build the RFC on the Shyvana. But since I did not want to play a Zed game, like you guys might not believe me, I do not like playing Zed because it's like too boring. I don't learn too much because you just really need to play well in the beginning. But I should have slammed RFC here and just go Zed, Kale, maybe Kalista. Kalista's actually good now if you guys were curious. In set 4, complete garbage champion, but they buffed her attack speed and they fixed a lot of her bugs, allegedly. We'll see if that actually happens. So you can actually play her as a carry now, which is something we couldn't really do that much of in the past. So I should have built RFC here and just go for one of those builds. But since I like going Sharpshooters and I really wanted to go Sharpshooter with Fabled, they just didn't let me do it. Like I don't want to build RFC in that comp. So that's why I held off on slamming. But if you guys are playing for serious, definitely slam the RFC. Because in this meta, Like Zed's just too strong. You can't not play Zed. You can't not play like the other carries which use RFC really well. Like even Olaf can use RFC. Even Kale uses it well. Like so many champions use it well. Shyvana uses it well, and I have a Shyvana there. So like, why am I not building it on her? It's because I'm stubborn and I wanted to play one build. Maybe you guys hopefully don't make this mistake in your games, but since it's a Smurf, like I don't take it super seriously because I do want to experiment with new builds. Because obviously, if I just play Zed all game, like I probably could force it and win at this elo at a very high chance. But like, yeah. But after a certain point, like you get so many bows, like you can only pass up on Zed so many times. Like we ended up buying him back there. We have the Jarvan Keeper here. We don't really need that. We end up winning the last fight. We're on Carousel. Let's see what we get. We ended up getting a Negatron on Zed, which is huge because we get both RFC and a QSS right away, or we could build like a Runons. So lots of options for Zed. He always wants like 2 Negatrons and 3 bows because you could build all the items with those with the glove for the best in slot, which are RFC, Runons, and QSS. Unfortunately, we cannot build the QSS yet because the item's on Zed, and we don't want to play him quite yet because I like the 4 Sharpshooter 2 Vanguard thing. And this guy's doing the Nasus build. Very interesting build. It looks really fun, too. I want to try it. After this recording, I'm probably going to try it in my games. I do have the build on my website at bunnymuffins.lol/meta. It isn't fully completed yet at the time of recording, but maybe when you watch this, it'll be updated by then, hopefully. There was not anything interesting in my last shop. We do get this Spirit Teemo here. So you could either go Shade Spirit, or sorry, Zed with Spirit or Zed with Ninjas. And it really doesn't matter which one you go. They use the same items. You just want to get Zeke's with like the best in slot Zed items, which we discussed before. The good thing about getting a Spirit chosen is that you don't have to run Diana. Diana's pretty useless, you know? But that does have the downfall of you need an extra Slayer, because normally you play Chosen Zed, which is Chosen Slayer. And that way you don't need to run Darius. So you could just run Pyke as your 3rd Slayer and be good from there. So there's a trade-off. Would you rather play a Diana or would you rather play a Darius? Depends. If it's a 3-star Diana, I probably want the Diana. And since we're re-rolling, sometimes you get it. But we do not have that this game. So I'll just take the Teemo because I don't have a Chosen and it's stage 4. I don't want to die. We end up getting perfect Zed items. We got the Runons. I forgot if I mentioned that already. So I ended up passing a Teemo there. And yeah, I completely forgot that since I'm re-rolling for Zed, there's a very high chance I hit Teemo. So when you see 6 Teemos and then you pass on it, it feels really bad. So don't do that in your games. When you're re-rolling, like you have to stop and think and like reassess the situation and always try to like, it's difficult because when you're playing the game, there's so much going on. And that's what happened to me here. Like I just got confused by everything because it's a new set. But when you're re-rolling and there are other units that you're hitting, just go ahead and buy them. If you get them to 3-star, great. If you don't, whatever. You're still keeping above 50 gold. And since like I don't have the 2-star Zed yet, like I might have technically gotten like a 3-star Teemo before I got my Zed, which would really help in some fights. Okay, so we do end up hitting the Zed here on this round, and again, this is another reroll Zed game like we did before. So I think if you're below gold, keep watching this video because there's still stuff for you to learn. But if you're above gold, just go to the next game, which is game 4, which is the last game. And the reason behind that is like you guys already know how to reroll. Like there's some things that you'll pick up still if you're above gold, but I just think it'd be a better use of your time if you went to the next one. But if you're below gold, definitely keep watching just because there's always stuff to learn for like what I buy, what I pass on, and all that stuff. All right, we're on the carousel, last pick again. Like I guess I get the belt for the chance of getting Zeke's. The crit doesn't really do too much for me because I already have all my crit items, all my damage items for my carry. So just getting more Zeke's, that's my priority right now. So here we get the Lantern. If you guys didn't know, Lantern, there's like a 25% chance of each of these happening. It either comes out on 2-5, 3-5, or 4-5, or doesn't happen at all. So keep that in mind. We got one here. We got 2 bows. We got another belt. So not ideal because like the ZZ Rots, not the best item, you know? We definitely wanted like a sword to get Zeke's because that just buffs Zed. Anything to buff Zed is good for us. I remembered to put in the Slayer. Oh, I forgot to do that before. So now we get the 3 Slayer. We get the both bonus damage and the healing on Zed, which is absolutely huge. And it makes the games a lot easier. Oh, this guy's doing the Nico build. There's like a Vanguard Mystic Nico build going around with Fabled. It's very interesting. This guy's not doing it, but if you build like carry Nico, it's something to consider. So here I keep rolling down. I don't need the Akali since I already have the Spirits. Darius is useful, so yeah, sell the Jax for that. I think I want to be using these items. Since I have so many items, I don't think I'm going to get that many off of this Wraith camp, right? I forgot how many I got from the Lantern. So I got 3 from the Lantern, and then I got 8 other items. So I'm going to get 2 more items at least from the Raptor camp. And in case you guys were curious, every game you get at least 10 items. Sometimes more. Sometimes you get 11 or 12. But you can't get less than 10 from natural carousels and the neutral camps. So this Nasus guy destroys me. Like, he kind of counters me because he has the Nasus targeting. He targets the highest health unit, and since Zed has Slayer, he's going to be healing, and since he jumps to the back, like, maybe people don't target him, so eventually he's going to be the highest health, and then Nasus just obliterates him because Nasus's ability lowers attack speed, and Zed, we're all about buffing his attack speed. He's got 3 bows items on him. We want Zeke's on him, like on an ally to buff him. So that's like a very devastating combo to counter. So here we keep rolling. We end up hitting the Yuumi, which is pretty nice, but we have to stop there. So from this camp, we hit the jackpot. We got a Force of Nature from that. We got a Zeke's Herald, and we got a Zephyr. So I make a mistake this game. I did not build the Zephyr when I really should have been doing that. Reason behind it, I'm running Assassins, and Zephyr is really good whenever you're running Assassins because you often kill a lot of his team before they respawn, or before they get out of the Cyclone. So that's a lot of value. Like Zephyr, which is built from Belt and Negatron, it pretty much just disables and makes invulnerable someone on the enemy team for the first part of the fight. But I make a mistake here. I build the ZZ Rot instead, and again, I just wish I built the Zephyr because it's a much better item. I think the reason why I didn't build it, don't quote me on this. Like, I'm always eating when I'm playing TFT or I'm cooking, so I might have been doing something so I wouldn't have been able to scout every round. And Zephyr is an item where you need to be scouting every round to get the most use of it. There's like a way to know who to face in your matchups. You can only face up to 3 people per turn. I don't know if you guys knew that. And the way to see who you face is keep track of who you faced in the past, and then you cannot face those until you've reached 3 possible opponents. So if there are 8 players in the game, you cannot face your previous 4 opponents. If there are 7 players in the game, you can't face the previous 3. If there are 6 players in the game, you can't face the previous two players. It just works like that, scaling all the way down until it's random. Nothing to do here, except for roll down to 50. We're 1 off Teemo. We're missing a lot of Zeds, so one thing to consider here, once we hit Teemo 3-star, we could just level up after that and forget about Zed, and then go fast 9 into, what's it called? Random legendary units. We could just swap all these items into someone else and have them carry, because the Zed, sometimes it doesn't happen, but I think I was like lazy this game, and I just wanted to tunnel the Zed, just because like it's a lot less effort to play like that. Like, don't blame me for that. We're gonna skip ahead to the carousel though. We hit the Teemo here, which is nice, but again, it's just rolling down to 50 every turn, so I don't think you guys want to see that, so I'll skip to the carousel. So here we keep losing against the Nasus guy, so I'm gonna take the Giant Slayer. I think it's better than all these other items. It probably would have been my first pick, even against all the other choices there. Just because he's running the guy in first place, he's running a 3-star Nasus. Giant Slayer is great versus 3 stars. And as long as I can itemize like a secondary carry, it might be possible to pop him with that Giant Slayer. So I skipped to the Krugs here. We get a Locket, not ideal. We could throw it on Kindred since she already has one of them. But we keep rolling, like, we've been skipping a lot of rounds, but we've been rolling a lot. We're still at 5 Zed, so again, the discussion is like whether to give up on Zed or to go all in for him. If we do all in, there's like a very high chance that we do hit the Zed 3-star, but sometimes it's rough if you have to spend like 200 gold to try to get 1 unit upgraded. So we end up hitting the Kindred, and no more Zeds though. So with that, since we were playing 2 Kindreds before, we really want to get a Mystic, so I'm just rolling down to find a Mystic at this point. because Mystic's going to be really helpful against that Nasus guy because he deals magic damage. We do find a Mystic, but it's a Yuumi, and we already have a Yuumi. So really unlucky this game, I feel like. All right, so we're skipping over here. We lost the other 2 fights to the same Nasus guy. That guy's been win streaking the whole game. It's just a really strong comp since he got it so early. So we're going to keep rolling for Zed. We have to all in because we're at 32 health. So one thing to keep in mind is whenever you're on like a couple of lives left, maybe like 2 or 3 lives, you want to try to all in at that point if you're close. Since we were only like a couple off, like it made sense to all in there. But sometimes you could wait till your last life. Depends on the stage of the game. If it's like a very tight race at the bottom and you're at the bottom, like you need to all in ASAP. But we're in second place, so it's like we weren't in like that much of a hurry. But at the same time, I knew I was going to keep losing to him, and he's only getting stronger because he's level 9. He's going to end up getting all the legendary units. So I want to try to end the game as soon as possible, even though he's at 100 life. Do we end up winning this game? Oh, this fight. Yeah, we do end up winning this fight. But there's like 5 more minutes left on the VOD. I don't know how much you guys can learn from this, so I'm just going to skip it. And yeah, he just wins. So like the Nasus build, it counters the Zed. So it's like just really unfortunate there. He's also level 9, so he's going to get a lot of legendary units, and it's just really rough after that. But yeah, second place, not bad. Building the Zed carry. If we build Zephyr, we might have had a chance because we could Zephyr the Nasus or the Yone, both really key units to Zephyr. So just things to keep in mind for future games. But let's hop into game 4. We're on to the last game here, game 4. We got a sword start. The other 2 games, we got a bow start. I think the first game we got a sword start too. So we got pretty good item starts, pretty lucky there. Maybe it's because people don't know what the best items are. Maybe it's because, well, there's no way that I'm better than them on carousel because I'm on 200 ping. But, yeah, so it must be that people don't know what the best items are. So if you read my website, you'll have a big advantage over other people because I list down below in the item section what the best carousel items are to start with. So apparently a lot of these guys didn't know that you want to go for bows early. So pretty easy advantage for me there. I didn't want to play Zed again, so I went for the sword because you're open to a lot more different comps, and I'm kind of sick of Zed after playing 2 games of him in a row. We got the brand 2-star to start the game. I think we just take it, you know? Like 2 stars are good. We end up getting some golds, we get some Nidalees, and we get 2-star Nidalee. So this is kind of a weird spot. We have 2 backline carries. Granted, I love having 2 stars early. They're like, it's a dream to have 2 stars at this point in the game. However, they're both backliners, so they're not actually going to be complementing each other because they're of different synergies. I end up building the static shiv on the Tristana. Ends up being a mistake because I'd rather put it on someone else, it turns out. But I thought at this point, like there was no way I wasn't building static shiv on Tristana. For some reason in my head, I thought like that. And that's because I got Sivir off of Orb. Now I could have played Sivir with static shiv and benched my Tristana. Very silly. It just goes to show that like, don't like do stuff when it doesn't help you and there's like a 0.1% chance that a different scenario can happen, because this specific scenario, Sivir dropping, made it so that I did not want the static shiv on the Tristana. It's the only scenario where that's the case. And I even did that. I even thought about this before I slammed the shiv because I was like, I shouldn't do this, especially since I'm making tutorial videos. I should be trying to like optimize everything when I can. But I was like, I'm just going to build it, whatever, and then the Sivir pops up. So a little unlucky there because, again, I'd play the same exact board plus a Sivir, which is just a better unit, and then sell it later, which is, like, perfectly fine, you know? But luckily, we're still able to win. So in this shop here, we get bailed out. We get Sharpshooter Tristana, like, holy cow. We're going to go ahead and play that. I don't know if you guys noticed, we did not level up before because we didn't have enough gold to. I would have wanted to because we had a slammable item. So whenever you slam an item, you want to level up to try to win streak. But we just didn't have enough gold because I wanted to keep the Sivir to play her. But at this point, we want the static shiv on the Tristana, not the Sivir. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and just put it on the new Tristana. The reason why you want it on Tristana is because you are probably going to sell her anyways. And she has the most attack speed because her own buff is an attack speed buff. So she gets both the attack speed buff from Sivir and from herself, so it just ends up being a lot more static shiv procs than what most people could get, you know? Definitely pick up the Nautilus for Fabled. I still want this Wukong, but just not enough room for it. The 4 Sharpshooters is good enough. I should have actually played the Nautilus over the Vi. That would have been a lot better, and then I would have been able to afford the Wukong. But I think I was like super tilted at the start of this game, but from that one mistake before where like the only scenario where it backfires is if I get a Sivir from an orb, but sometimes it happens, you know? So we have the Teemo in instead of the Nidalee. I'm really not too sure who's better, the Nidalee or the Teemo. Typically, Nidalee is very good on stage 2, but Teemo is always good in every stage of the game. But since we make interest, I decided to sell the Nidalee because I think she is if she is better than Teemo at this point, it's probably only slightly better. This guy's looking pretty strong. He's level 5 already on stage 2, 3. Do I end up winning this one, or does my tank line not make it? Yeah, I think we lose this one. Unlucky that I faced a level 5 because... Oh, I did win that one. I forgot. Again, in case you guys are curious, the reason why I think I know the outcomes is because this is a recording. So whenever I'm playing TFT, I'm often doing something else. So not all these games are live. Sometimes I do play live, but that's generally when I stream. But maybe I should bring streaming back. I'm not really too sure. It's just like I take a lot of breaks when I play. So it's not a good thing to do when you're streaming. That's why I don't stream too much anymore. So our last pick, get the belt, I think, because we want Zeke's. Okay, so we get a lantern, the 2/5 lantern, rod, and I think that's a reforger. So that's pretty good. So definitely it's an insta Zeke slam because we have the dream. We have the static shiv and the Zeke's. Like, doesn't get better than this, guys. Notice how I put Tristana in the corner, Teemo towards the center. The reason why I do this is because Teemo has shorter range than Tristana. If you read them, Teemo has 660 range and Tristana has 890. So you want to put the guys with longer range in the back so they don't have to walk up as much. If Teemo was in the corner, he'd probably walk in certain fights. Well, this fight he's walking no matter what. But like, if there was someone up front there, he may not have. Actually, would he have? I don't know anymore. Okay, we get another Teemo, another Nautilus there. No 2-stars. I end up playing the Spirit over the Vanguards. Spirit's just really good because we have so much attack speed, so even more attack speed's like really nice too. But maybe we wanted the Wukong in there because we really only have one tank, but I think we just shred through them if we just keep it like this. Thinking back, like Wukong's probably better than Diana because Diana's like a half tank. That was my justification when I played it. I was like, oh, she's still like sort of tanky, but she's definitely not as tanky as Wukong, you know? Because they get the Vanguard buff too, which gives both armor and magic resist now, so it's pretty much good against everything, whereas before it was only good against physical damage. Get a 2-star Wukong, it's as easy as that. We have 2 Dianas on our bench, so if we didn't make interest here, we'd just sell them. Sorry, if we didn't get gold here, we'd just sell them. I think I was... See, I'm like eating right now, so I'm like running back, and I'm going to try to quickly sell something in just a few seconds. Yeah. Ideally, you pick up that orb to get the gold, but since I was like running back from my kitchen at that point, you just gotta do what you gotta do. So one interesting experiment. I don't know if someone's done the math yet, but what happens if you put Rabadon's Death Cap on Sivir? Does she make your... And my camera died, so we're not dealing with that anymore. Man, yeah, I ended up building the Morello on Teemo. Again, I wanted to really test out the hat on Sivir, but I didn't think of it until after I built the Morello, because I'm like, again, we're following the theme, slam items early, level up aggressively, play aggressively, and I wanted to build an item there. Morello on Teemo, you can't go too wrong with that, but again, I really wanted to just experiment with the hat on Sivir, so maybe someone else does that. Let me know how it goes for you if it's like a decent item on her. It's really just a buff item, because she does a lot of auto attacks, but obviously hat does not give any attack damage, so theoretically it might not be that good, but maybe it buffs her entire team so much that it doesn't matter. Again, let me know if you try it out. We end up win streaking through all this. Like, we leveled up to 7 pretty early again, or sorry, we leveled up to level 6 pretty early again because we're protecting our win streak, and we really want to fight the other guy who's also win streaking. I think this is a game where, yeah, he's win streaking with 3 fortune, which is really unlucky because I could beat him in all 3 of these rounds, but after this, I don't think I can beat him anymore. Like, he has so much more gold than everyone else that like his streak really needed to be stopped, because if I want to win this game, which I do because I'm smurfing, I can't have someone win streaking with fortune for like 15 turns, you know? But he's winning everything. It's nasty. Sometimes you can't help it. So here, I'm last pick. It's the theme of the day. End up getting the crit, I think. We wanted the Negatron because I wanted to build Ionic Spark. We actually end up going for the belt. Yeah, but I wanted to slam items again, so getting the Ionic Spark would have been a great early game slam, especially against him because um, he's all frontline, so the Ionic Spark probably hits everyone on his team. But he took the Negatron, so we had to go for the belt. I don't know why I didn't go for the crit though, because I could have spell critted someone potentially. I'm not really too sure why. It's not an ideal item, neither of them are, but I have Reforger anyway, so maybe like just slamming the spell crit and reforging it later might have been better. So here I make a mistake. I should have been leveling up to level 7 here. It costs 28 gold to level up. I'd be at 26 gold, but I could just sell something to get to 20 to get to 30 or just lose an extra interest. The reason why you want to level up aggressively is, again, I need to stop this guy's win streak and I need to protect mine too. So even if I don't face him, I should have leveled up, and that's a big mistake. I'm really not too sure why I did not level up here. Do I end up getting punished for it? I do not, so lucky me. Please tell me I level up here. Okay, I do. Okay, so I saved myself at the end. All right, I probably like realized midway through the last round, I was like, wait a minute, why didn't I level up, and change it accordingly. So now I'm facing the guy. He's level 8. I can't beat him anymore. Really unlucky. So I'm going to have to get something like to redeem later in the game in order to beat him, because he's running like fortune win streak. He's level 8 at stage 3-6. It's obviously a mistake to go level 8 this early because he only has 1 gold now, or 10 gold now. He could have just went level 8 on 4-1 and would have been fine. He probably would have beaten me anyways, even with at level 7. So we get the Teemo 2 and we just high roll the Samira. Like, holy cow, that's huge. I just wish we faced him, or we didn't face him last round and face him on 4-1, because with the Samira, anything can happen. She got nerfed a ton, so she's not as strong as she was in the public beta environment, but she's still good to use if you guys get her. Like, she's one of the best damage legendaries in the game. All right, so we got a ton of items here. Holy cow, we got like 4 items. I don't even know. I can't even count. But this is great because we just got a Samira. We need to item her up. So what comes to my mind here is Infinity Edge and Warmogs. Warmogs, I love that tech on her as her defensive items. Like, you don't need QSS. You don't need Trap Claw. Trap Claw's decent, but like, she gets a shield every time she dashes. And she dashes very often, and that's a 10% shield, so you definitely want to be trying to maximizing that. I should buy Zed here because I should be trying to fit Slayer in, but for some reason, hopefully I buy it later. And I don't end up buying it. That's okay. Mistakes happen. I probably wasn't used to hitting her this early, because normally, like, you hit her in like stage 5-1, not on stage 3-7, you know? But at this point, it's just steamrolling everyone. If I didn't hit her, like I know some people in chat already, they're gonna be like, man, you only won this because you're high rolling this game because you got Samira really early. Like, we were destroying everyone else except for the guy who went to level 8 on 3-6, so we would have been fine regardless with the Teemo 2, with Morello, with the Static Shiv. If you guys are wondering what items I would have built, maybe I would have built the Thieves Gloves on someone instead of building IE, or I'd build like a Zeke's Herald on the Sivir, so I'd have 2 Zeke's Herald, and again, we would have been fine even without the Samira. If you don't believe me, like, try it out yourself. So here we get a Fabled, so we're hard stuck for Cho'Gath, which is fine, it's expected, you know. Fabled, I'm probably forcing it too hard, because like I just want to play it. It's fun when Cho'Gath ults a whole map, and since I'm on a Smurf, sometimes you want to have a little fun. It's not costing me any interest, so it's actually not too bad at this point, though. Again, we're last pick because we're steamrolling all the fights. There is a Cho'Gath there, so I could consider picking that up. Or I could get a Negatron to build an Ionic. But that guy gets the Cho'Gath, unfortunate. That guy gets the Negatron, so I guess I have to get a tier. I was thinking about building QSS on the Tristana, but I'm selling her soon, and I don't really know what I'm building with those later. It doesn't really matter what I build now, though, because I'm probably going to reforge this item. But this gives me Hand of Justice in case I don't want to do that, so there are some trade-offs. I really need to be putting in Slayer. Again, I'm not really too sure why I haven't done it yet. I ended up not leveling last turn. I'm not on a win streak, so I don't need to spend a lot of gold to protect it. I'm also not low health. I'm 87 life. So no need to rush the level up when you could do like a clean level up to level 8 with 50 gold and roll down like 60 gold, in fact. And if you roll like 30 gold, you'll still be at 30 gold afterwards and build up your econ to whatever you want. So you could either fast 9 after that or keep rolling down to slow roll to 30 every turn for a couple of turns to get all your 2 stars. Here I should probably level though, because it's just 1 gold, you know? You don't always want to do the passive level up. You may have noticed in the Zed games I did the passive level up, but that's because I'm slow rolling. Since I'm playing kind of like the standard level up pattern, you don't need to like super optimize your gold as much. Was I not buffing Samira before? Oh, that's awkward. Probably should buff Samira. I'm not too sure how much she benefits from attack speed. Probably a decent amount since she's an attack damage carry though. But do I want the other one on Tristana or Teemo? That's a good question to ask. So we do end up losing against this guy. What is he even running? He's running like Siphoner Dragon Soul. So the item here is a Negatron. So we do end up getting that. It's definitely like a Reforge game. I'm just not too sure what yet. I think we reforge all the Tristana items. Or we could just build a Hand of Justice. It's really tough to say. I'm going to stay put and not roll that much here because like we're steamrolling everyone. So this game is probably going to a fast 9. Like we have a 1-star carry and it's just destroying everyone. So if you're ever like stuck in like silver or gold, like I think this game, a lot of the players are gold from last season. I forgot which game it was when I looked some people up, but like these guys aren't like that weak of players. If you guys are in that elo, like we're not in iron or something like that. So even in gold, the fact that a 1-star carry such as Tristana, which has like 1.5 items for most part of the game, it's still enough to win a lot of these lobbies with like my whole front line. Like I have 5 1-star units and I'm still strong enough to fight against people. Obviously like Samira is a Samira, but like 5 1-stars, like this guy's full 2-star with a 3-star. It's like a lot different, you know? Like we definitely shouldn't be winning this many games and be at this high health and feel this safe. But it's going to end up eventually catching up to us because we're trying to go fast 9. So we don't mind losing these rounds in order to get all the legendaries later in the game. But like, do not fast 9 on this board if you're trying to get to like Master, for example. Having a board this week can probably get you through to around like Diamond, maybe even mid Diamond. So on the carousel, like even though we're losing a couple of rounds, we're still last pick. Yeah, it's a curse. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, it's stage 5. I need to be slamming items. I don't know why I'm not slamming items. I end up picking up the Deathblade for Samira. It's a really strong item combination on her because she revolves a lot around attack damage. So it's like a no-brainer to take that. But I really should be just building these items and then reforging. I think the only reason why I'm hesitating is that I might get like a random legendary 2-star when I fast 9 that might be able to use these items. But I think I definitely should have just reforged them. Get an Orn item here, Obsidian Cleaver. This one is really nice. It actually would have been really nice to put this on Samira because it gives both attack damage and health, so I actually should not have even put the Deathblade on her. I should have put the Obsidian Cleaver on her and then put the Deathblade on Sever. Again, this is the second time this game that I played too quickly. The first time was slamming the Static Shiv, and this time it was slamming the Deathblade on the Samira before checking out the Orn item. Like, I forgot that Orn's a thing, you know, even though I'm playing him. It happens. End up building the Chalice because I could just rebuild that, worst case scenario. But yeah, she just heals to full. Like, she deals so much damage, she heals so much, it's just insane. Like, look at this damage chart. The second damage was 600 damage from Tristana. Okay, Sejuani 2, that's really nice. I'm going fast 9, so I don't need the 2-star Sejuani, but like you take it, obviously. So I end up selling the Tristana here, I think, because like you just don't need too many Sharpshooters for Samira. So I could just drop down to 2 Sharpshooter instead of staying at 4. And then I could just run a better unit. Like, I get, what did I get? I put in Yumi, so do I even get Spare from that? No, I got Mystic though, so Mystic's probably better. But yeah, just slam all the items on Sejuani. I'm just going to reforge her next turn. It takes all the items off of her, so it like you never have to worry about things getting stuck. I think Shyvana wins this, right? Yeah, double Rage Blade, really strong late into a fight, obviously. So now we're on the Krug. Unfortunately, we get Ionic Spark. So I would have rather Ionic Sparked or reforged the Ionic Spark over the Morellonomicon. But we get a Zeke's Herald. Super unlucky because we cannot put it on the Sivir because she's full. So we have to find a new unit to put it on. I really don't know who's the best one to hold it on. I ended up putting it on Olaf, but again, I don't know if that's the best. So I level up to 9 there. We end up getting a Chosen Azir. Not the best, but you take it. It's a 2-star legendary. Like, you never pass on those. But since we have so much gold, we could have potentially waited to roll down for a better one. Like Azir, you just can't complain about that, you know? What I would have preferred instead, you see all our items here, right? We have a hat, we have an Ionic Spark. I would have preferred like a unit that could use those. So something like a Yone could have been really nice instead of getting the Azir. Because Azir, he doesn't need any items to do stuff, whereas other champions do. Like Azir, he just CCs. He's a support unit. He's not a carry, so you just don't need him. But I mean, you still want him, but like since I have excess items, you'd rather get a different legendary. Lee Sin, same thing. He uses some tank items, but that's about it. I really need like a Yone, like a Set would be really nice. Like one of those champions. So we got a new shop. We got Tryndamere. Like Swain's another example who could use those items really well. I could have had Hat, Ionic, plus the tank item on Ornn that we got for Swain. That would have been really nice. But yeah, once we get to level 9, we're 41 health, so we're not in much danger. But typically when you fast 9, you want to roll to like at least 20 or at least 10. And the reason behind that is because normally you'd be a lot lower health than what I am now. We'd be at like 1 health instead of 23. Because we reached level 9 like 3 stages ago. I think we were at like 60 life at that point. Normally you'd be around like 23 instead of 60 life. So you typically roll to 0, but since we had so much health from before, we could just slow roll to 50. You need to find the time to all in. And I think that time is now since I'm at 23 life. And I don't want to get unlucky one fight or get like Zephyr'd one fight. Okay, so off this carousel, I'm getting this Samira because that completes our Samira. The Hextech Gunblade pops off. Unfortunately, no one can use it. However, since I get the level 2 Samira, I don't have to roll anymore. I have my carry at 2-star, and that's a huge power spike. You guys saw how much work level 1 Samira was doing? Imagine level 2 Samira, which I have now. So normally you would roll here because you're 23 life and just buy all the orange units, which are the legendary units, and then just play them all and screw all synergies. But since we got the level 2 Samira, like we should be safe, but maybe I should have rolled anyways because we're at 23 life and that's kind of playing with fire if we don't roll to 0 here, because you never want to like have 1 life. It's really risky whenever you're in that situation. But Samira cleaned this fight up, so that's nice. So we end up losing that other fight. So again, like we're on 1 life. I'd much rather not be in that situation. We end up getting a Shen for Mystic, which is nice, so that can replace our Sejuani. We could redistribute the tank items. But now it's like, it's a time to roll. I think I sell this Zillion because you don't want Hat on Zillion. I need to pick up this other Ornn item. There's so much I need to do, not enough time. We get the Swain, which is nice. We also plan to run Yone because we have the Hextech Gunblade with like Hat, which is nice for him. So that's why I picked up the Shen. It gives both Mystic and the Adept. I know we're like full on Mystic now, but I'm going to replace this Yuumi. I just didn't have time to do it during this round. I should be rolling now because there's no way I roll 70 gold in 1 turn, but you really need to do that. So sometimes you just roll during the PvE round instead of during the normal time for your turn. So again, I'm just rolling down. I'm buying all the orange units, and I'm trying to figure out what I can replace. So definitely the Yuumi. Ornn's weaker later into the game, and then this Yone could go in for pretty much anyone. I think I should take out Slayer here, and we should be good there. Please tell me I keep rolling. Okay. Because I'm like, Set could use the items too. It doesn't have to be Yone. So you just need one or the other to build those items. Swain's a pretty good holder for this too, because he's a frontline tank and he just has like 3 pseudo tank and damage items, which is pretty nice for him. I'm not really too sure what best in slot is for Swain yet, but when I find out, it'll be all posted on my website. At this point, like, yeah, I should have sold these 2 Ornns. I have a Shroud of Stillness on my bench, but since there's so much going on, it's hard to keep track of everything. But just keep rolling here for all the legendaries. This is the last round. End up getting the Zillion, but we need to keep rolling. I don't know why I stopped rolling. Please keep rolling. Stop repositioning. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. Yeah, I'm just never going to roll. Because we have this random Tryndamere that's doing nothing. So I just need to just sell him and play a second legendary instead. But for some reason, I'm not doing that. And I'm not even buffing my Samira with this Tryndamere. So, yeah. In TFT, sometimes you get confused because there's so much going on. That's why whenever you try to simplify the game, it's always really nice because I just outplayed myself there, you know? And it happens. Luckily, we're strong enough so it doesn't affect us. But, like, I needed to roll to 0 and position properly, and I failed to do both. Luckily, we won, so hopefully these videos helped you guys. If you guys have any more questions, leave one in the comment below on any game. Make sure you like timestamp your question though, because this is like a 2-hour, 3-hour video. I don't know how long it is yet. But yeah, timestamp your question. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna be posting a lot of Set 4.5 content if you guys are into that stuff. And yeah, hopefully I'll be uploading more. It's like daily uploads for the past 4 days, I think. But maybe I can continue the streak, but I don't expect the daily uploads going further. And this is just because it's like too hard to get like quality content out that often. And you guys might be wondering like, how come you didn't play the 5th game? I did play the 5th game, but there are 3 things that happened that made it so I couldn't show the recording. 1 is I forgot to hit record. 2, I DC'd during the game anyways. 3, I had this play where I had 2 Orns at level 1, both on my board, and they were 3 turns into making the item, and then I had an Orn in my shop. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get 2 items and then buy this Orn. But I bought the Orn, so only 1 item came out. So there are like 3 disasters that happened that game. 1, I forgot to press record. 2, I disconnected during the game. And 3, I griefed myself because I didn't know how a mechanic worked. So I also forgot to press record while recording one of these voiceovers for one of these games. So it happens a lot, forgetting to press record. But regardless, thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope to see you guys next time, and I'll see you later.